Yo, here we go. Another episode of the All Done podcast. I'm Tracy. That's my boy Mike. What you fucking with, Mike?
Nothing much, man. Chilling, Status quo, apparently. Same old.
Same old. Yeah, so today's topic on the All Done podcast, we're going to jump right into this thing, man. Brother was murdered out there in, Minneapolis?
Yeah.
Prosecutors opened their case by showing in full a bystander's video of Chauvin kneeling on Floyd's neck as people on the street asked Chauvin to stop. What happened is clear, says the prosecution.
You will learn that on May 25th of 2020, Mr. Derek Chauvin betrayed this badge when he used excessive and unreasonable force upon the body of Mr. George Floyd.
Chauvin's lawyer says other video that the jury has not yet seen and further testimony will tell a different story.
The evidence will show that Mr. Floyd died of a cardiac arrhythmia that occurred as a result of hypertension, his coronary disease, the ingestion of methamphetamine and fentanyl, and the adrenaline flowing through his body.
The prosecution said forensic evidence will instead show that Floyd died at the hands of the former officer who used excessive force. Floyd was accused of passing a counterfeit $20 bill, which prosecutors say could have led to a simple citation instead of a physical confrontation. Chauvin's defense lawyer said Floyd resisted arrest, while prosecutors say that after he was subdued, he struggled to breathe. Floyd's death has triggered worldwide protests against police treatment of African Americans, but both sides say this case will hinge on facts.
Some race soldiers, totally, against any police protocol or procedure I've ever seen. And honestly, just initial thoughts, I'm absolutely mortified. It's been I believe this happened 2 days ago. It's been hard for me to wake up, talk to people, do my job, take care of my family. It's been hard to do regular stuff. And I think that's kind of the initial emotion a lot of people don't even understand. It's this is not just some shit we see on the internet. It's I'm a black man. This black man was killed in the street for apparently nothing. And we'll get kind of into a little bit more on what really happened as the details kind of roll in. It's only been 2 days. But what are your initial thoughts of our brother getting murdered out there, man?
My initial thoughts is, I think I said this once before, and I'm gonna say it again. I'm more bothered that it's so normal. The fact that I could see it and just another brother was killed by police, another, unjustly, and it's becoming a norm, and that bothers me a lot. And I don't know if a lot of people remember, that's not the first brother killed in Minnesota by police hands.
It's not. Jamar Clark, Philando, right? We can run down the list.
Yeah, so.
For the first time, we are hearing from the Minneapolis police officers that shot and killed Jamar Clark. The shooting happened on November 15, 2015 on Plymouth Avenue North.
Officer Swartzy says when he and his partner arrived on scene, paramedics pointed to Clark as a person trying to stop them from helping their patient. It was then Swartzy said they approached Jamar Clark.
I said, take your hands out of your pockets. At the same time I was saying that, my partner was also saying, take your hands out of your pockets.
Swartzy says Clark had his head tilted down. When he got within arm's length, he says he reached for Clark.
Simultaneously, I grabbed his left arm. My partner holstered his gun and grabbed the male's right arm. I had to physically pull his hand out of his pocket.
Swartzy says there was a struggle to get Clark's arms behind his back so they could handcuff him. He says Ringenberg used the maneuver to take him down. Swartzy says he watched as his partner struggled with Clark and then yelled, "He has my gun."
And I put my gun on the side of his head. It was the left side of his head. And I was so scared and just, I thought he had the gun. I thought the shots were gonna ring out. The only thing I could think of to do was to save our lives and anybody else that was in that immediate area of any danger. So I pulled the trigger.
Now, Swartzy told investigators his gun did not go off the first time. He said it was the second shot that ended the struggle with Clark. Frank.
I want you to sit down and watch this because it is shocking. It's shocking dash cam video. It's been released of the fatal police shooting of Philando Castile last year. Few people had seen the video. It was shown in court during the trial of Officer Geronimo Yanez, who was acquitted of the killing of Castile. You probably remember the Facebook Live video taken inside the car by Philando Castile's girlfriend. Well, tonight we have edited those two videos together, showing you every angle so you can judge for yourself what happened. But I have to warn you, this is very graphic and it's difficult to watch. Here it is.
Hello, sir. Good. How are you? Good. Reason I put you over, your brake lights are out. So you only have one active brake light, and that's going to be your passenger side one. Your third brake light, which is up here on top, and then this one back here, is going to be out. You have your license and insurance?
I do have a firearm on me.
Don't reach for it then. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out.
I repeat, nobody plays dumb like a white person trying to deny injustice. Your latest example, Officer Kim Potter, not a rookie, has worked for the department for 26 years. 26! And she's head of the police union, is playing dumb. See, protesters in Minnesota were doing what they were supposed to be doing, and that's being angry. Okay, raising hell in a region, as the New York Times stated, in a region already at the center of a national reckoning over police officers' use of force against black people. New York Times, we need stronger language than use of force, okay? Let's say in a region already at the center of a national reckoning over police officers killing black people for no damn reason. Yeah, I like that. Because where Dante Wright was killed by Kim Potter, 10 miles away, prosecutors in the courtroom completed the questioning of their witness of another killer cop, Derek Chauvin. Okay, very important to keep reminding y'all that he's the man we saw kill George Floyd. Now, Kim Potter has killed Dante Wright and is playing dumb to deny injustice. How is she playing dumb? Well, let's go to CNBC with Shepard Smith for the report, please.
Just miles from where George Floyd died, a police officer shot and killed a young, unarmed black man, reigniting outrage and inflaming tensions. Minneapolis, of course, was already on edge as the nation watches the murder trial of Derek Chauvin. The police chief in Brooklyn Center, that's the suburb outside the city, says cops pulled over 20-year-old Dante Wright for expired tags and tried to arrest him for an outstanding warrant. There was a struggle. The police chief says one of the officers pulled out her gun by mistake, thinking it was her taser.
On the list.
So apparently it's a reoccurring thing there, and it's just, but why? Like, and I keep looking for the answer that a lot of people probably don't have, or if they have, they don't want to just say it out. I have my feelings on why, but it's hurtful still.
Yeah, the brother George Floyd, man, murdered by Minnesota cops or Minneapolis cops a couple days ago, and
yeah, Shep, it really was. Good evening to you. And look, the pace of this trial, it shifted a bit today. Initially, prosecutors slowing things down some, meticulously going through that previously unseen security video from inside the Cup food store that shows George Floyd interacting with other customers and employees. One of those, 19-year-old Christopher Martin, the cashier, as you talked about, telling jurors he had a brief conversation with Floyd and that he seemed, quoting here, high, but never appeared agitated or angry. Martin left the store twice, asking Floyd to come back in and talk with his manager about what was apparently a counterfeit $20 bill he used to buy that pack of cigarettes, then rushed back outside as the situation escalated with police.
I saw people yelling and screaming. I saw Derek with his knee on George's neck on the ground.
From what I'm reading and the research that I'm coming across, the story goes is this brother apparently went to a store owner thought that his check that he wrote was fraudulent, in turn called the cops. Now the interesting part is maybe I try my hardest, and this is the hardest thing for Black people, to give people the benefit of the doubt, because we never get it, right? So I try to be a good human being and give people the benefit of the doubt. Even if, as the store owner, saw this brother's check and was like, hey, this seems fraudulent, I think other groups of people need to start understanding, when you call the cops on Black people, it's a different, you're doing something different. You're not just calling the cops. It's not going to be justice day in court, you know, follow policy and procedure. That phone call could be the judge, jury, and execution for people's lives. And in this case, it was.
Good evening. The final minutes of George Floyd's life leading up to his deadly encounter with Minneapolis police. Now we're seeing that for the first time. During testimony in the murder trial of the now fired cop Derek Chauvin, prosecutors played never-before-seen security video from inside the corner store where clerks called the cops on George Floyd because he allegedly paid with a fake $20 bill. That's George Floyd in the black tank top. Today we heard from the 19-year-old cashier who sold Floyd cigarettes. He testified that he feels guilty for telling his manager the bill was counterfeit. This is the cashier pacing on the sidewalk outside the store with his hands on his head after witnessing George Floyd dying.
What was going through your mind during that time period?
Disbelief and guilt.
Okay. Why guilt?
If I would have just not taken the bill, this could have been avoided.
And so that's really the story as it's kind of coming out today. They also released the video, because at first you had a lot of white supremacists and those types of individuals kind of claiming the brother was fighting back, and it was just one cop, and that dude was a big black monster. That's how they always do us too. It's always we always the big black monster that's just going to run through bullets and tasers and kill everybody.
We're
right?
not people. We're animals.
One super nigga, right? That's the super nigga stereotype, right? We're not human beings.
We also heard from an eyewitness who begged George Floyd to stop struggling with the officers. He told Floyd, "You can't win." The witness broke down in tears as he rewatched the police body cam video of himself pleading with George Floyd. The judge had to call for a break.
This is also new video from Derek Chauvin's police body cam, and we hear for the first time Chauvin during the confrontation.
That's one person's opinion. But no, I gotta get him. We gotta control this guy because he's a sizable guy. Yeah, and I tried to get in the car. Looks like he's probably on something.
He was talking to Charles McMillan, who was overwhelmed as he watched this video from the witness stand today.
I'll just give you a moment, Mr.
He kept saying, "I can't breathe." And when he said, "Mama, they're killing me," and they're killing me, that's what I kept hearing. "I can't breathe, Mama, they're killing me." Then when he started saying, my body's shutting down.
So it came out today that it was 4 cops, one brother handcuffed, never resisted arrest. They put him up against the wall very calmly, and we'll show that video a little later. He did everything he could to stay alive, and in the end, some of the other details I think played a part in his brother getting murdered.
And to jump on something you said when you said, well, what they don't know is when they call the cops is different for us. I think they do know. I think they do know, and that's what they're looking to happen. Because example, the lady in what was it, in New York? She called the cops. Yeah, she called the cops on the brother in the park. The man was just walking or whatever. And you know, of course, like you said, we try to give the benefit of the doubt, so we don't know full detail, but she called the cops, and like at first he's telling her, "Go ahead, call him." Like I'm not doing anything, call him. And then her narrative changed when she got on the phone. Like, no, he's threatening me or whatever she said. And so they know, and that's why they do it. People call the cops, and that's why, you know, shout out, because I want to be a basher. So shout out to the cops that get those calls and pull up, and then the people that called them, they got to face something now, because that's ridiculous. And I wish more law enforcement officers do that. But in this country, in this place we live in, and honestly, a lot of places in the world, we don't have that safe space. So, yeah, that's tough.
I agree, and here's my tough, and here's where it's going to get tougher for me. And I'm trying to find the words, because I think I'm a believer in what America's ideology is.
Oh, we have a lot to unpack here this morning, but not really, because we've been here before, America. And I spell America Amerikakka. And I'm not talking about Kim, Courtney, and Chloe, or Kim, Kylie, and Kendall. I'm talking about Ku Klux Crackers. Oh, this is a white supremacist country. Black people have been historically the lowest caste. The dominant white caste knows this, and they always remind us of such. See, there's a reality show that we all live in called Being Black in America. Some may call it a dramedy, definitely a thriller, absolutely a horror movie, never a lighthearted affair, because the things that happen to us in this country have us walking around with heavy hearts constantly. What did the late, great James Baldwin say? To be a Negro in this country is to be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be in a rage almost all the time? Yeah, I feel your great ancestor Baldwin. That's why I'm intentional about not taking too many things seriously, because I have to laugh to keep from crying. I've been getting told all my life I turn everything into a joke. Yes, I do. It's a form of self-care, okay? A defense mechanism of sorts to protect us from the inevitable. The inevitable trauma that we will witness, which keeps this show Being Black in America perpetually in a series of new reruns, okay?
Right? Justice, liberties, freedoms for all, right? The whole Pledge of Allegiance thing, right? The freedom for all concept. And I think the idea of democracy is dope. Has America achieved that idea, those ideals yet? They absolutely have not. And I think that's the problem for me when you start to get into law enforcement and the, one bad apple thing is like, how many bad apples can you really have in the police department? And so for me, I'm done giving law enforcement a pass, man. If you're not thoroughly and loudly speaking out about your colleagues and coworkers that out here murdering Black people for no apparent reason other than that fact that they are Black, I can't rock with that. And so I'm really leaning towards, and these are my personal ideals, but I'm really leaning more towards, I'm okay with us kind of going to get our own thing. This is our country, so make no mistake. I'm not talking about Black people going anywhere. This is our shit. We built this shit.
Built on our backs.
You feel me? And so this is ours. So I'm not talking about us going anywhere, but I'm talking about us making it feel like our home and working to build something for ourselves. So as far as the ideas, and I've heard a lot of people make this point about law enforcement, and it's a lot of good ones, but it's a few bad ones. I don't hear enough of the good ones. I don't hear enough of the good ones. And I'm tired of us dying because we don't. It's absurd that that's the first thing or the second thing or the third thing that people go to when a man is murdered, that there are good cops. Man, just fuck the good cops, because all I keep seeing, and it won't be the good cops that's going to kill you. And the worst part, it's also not going to be the good cops that stop you from getting murdered. There's 4 police officers we're talking about. We're not talking about one white supremacist that had his knee on the neck of a brother. We're talking about 4 cops. Oh, and a side note before I tag you in and just get your thoughts on that, one of the police officers was an Asian man. And so to my Black community, I ask you, how are you feeling now about that Asian coalition that we were pushing a couple weeks ago, because the Asian community was taking a hit because the president decided to use some very derogatory terms towards that community? And I feel bad for them, but Black people can't be the whipping boys for everybody. Because soon as we need something, or soon as we need a community or a group to stand up for us, this is what we get.
Nobody's there.
You fucking stopping his breathing right there, bro.
Okay, he's talking.
He's talking. Bro, but you could get him off the ground. You being a bum right now. You could get him off the ground, bro. You could get him off the ground. You being a bum right now. He enjoying that. He enjoying that shit. He enjoying that shit. He a fucking bum, bro. He enjoying that shit right now, bro. You could have fucking put him in the car by now, bro. He's not resisting arrest or nothing.
Is he talking now?
You enjoying it. Look at you. Your body language explains it.
Look
you
at
fucking
him.
Bum.
Bro, get the fuck off of him.
What? No, I already know
He's
that, bro. I tell you what
about
happened
to
to these
knock
bum ass dudes
out.
at
What
the
the fuck
academy,
is
bro.
wrong?
You know. That's cool though, bro. You're a bum, bro. You're a bum for that. You're a bum for that, bro. You get mad. You just sitting there stopping his breathing right now.
Look at it. What the fuck?
Right now, bro.
Look at
bro.
Get the fuck off of him. What is wrong with y'all? What the fuck? What the fuck?
I'm not scared of you, bro.
You're a fucking pussy. I hope you know you're a pussy on God. I hope your ass rot in hell.
But look, well, you should check on him. He's not.
No!
Right now.
Back off.
He's not responsive
Get
right
off,
now.
get off the street.
He's not responsive right
okay,
now.
then you would know.
He's not responsive right now. He's not responsive right now, bro.
Does he have a pulse?
No, bro, look at him. He's not responsive right now, bro.
Check for a pulse.
Bro, are you serious? You
Go
gonna just
check.
with that on his
Let me
neck,
see a
bro?
pulse.
Is he breathing right now?
handcuffed.
Check his
How long will
pulse.
we have this conversation?
Check his pulse.
Okay.
Check his pulse, Kyle.
I'm
Kyle,
telling you
check
right
his
now,
pulse.
check his pulse.
Kyle, check his pulse, bro. Bro, check his pulse, bro. You bogus, bro.
Don't do
you
drugs.
bogus. Don't do drugs, bro.
Check
What
his
is
pulse
that?
right
What do you
now.
think that is? You call what he doing okay?
Get back
You
on the
call what he doing
Badge
okay?
number
You call what you doing? You call what he doing okay,
Are you
bro?
really a firefighter?
Yes,
bro,
I am
okay.
from Minneapolis.
Okay.
Bro,
then
you
get on the sidewalk.
you
Show me
think that's
his
okay?
pulse.
Check his pulse.
Check his right
Kyle,
fucking
check his
now.
pulse.
Get back on the
Check.
sidewalk.
The man ain't moved yet, bro. The man ain't
Find me on
moved
the
yet,
street.
bro.
Okay. He's not moving.
Bro, you're a bum, bro. You're a bum, bro. You're
Check his pulse
definitely a
right
bum.
Nobody's there. We need, yeah. And I agree with everything you just said. And even with your statement about there's good cops, and you're right. They hide behind that quote unquote blue wall, but then you could talk in private about how, oh, nah, that was wrong. Nah, say it publicly. We need somebody to speak up for us publicly. And so many people's argument is here, like, oh, well, if they weren't resisting, or if like we said, in that situation, the brother wasn't resisting. And honestly, like in a lot of situations, you could call it resisting. A lot of times, brothers just scared. We give everybody else the benefit of that. Oh, they were scared. They didn't know. They wasn't sure. They were just scared. Like, and it keeps happening. Shout out to the brother who just got I can't think of his name right now. His charges was dropped, where they ran up in his house and they ended up killing his girl. Rest in peace.
Breonna Taylor, you talking about the sister Breonna Taylor? RIP to that sister. And I'm glad that brother beat that. Shout out to the honorable Judge Olu Stevens, who's the judge presiding over those proceedings. And I need our community to protect that brother, man. He needs to be protected because he has been holding us down a few cases. But Judge Olu Stevens is a rider for sure.
See, and those charges was dropped. And for those that don't know that story, they had a no-knock warrant. They ran up in the brother's house in that couple's house, and he started shooting. But now, so when they shot back, they killed his girl. They killed the young lady, and they took him to jail. He was wounded, and they took him to jail, and he was charged. But like, that's a situation where I was scared. Like, somebody ran up in my house. That's a normal response for anybody.
Should be.
But they're trying to say, well, nah, that's not a normal response, or that shouldn't have been a normal response. But running somebody down on the street and shooting them is a good response for jogging in your neighborhood, or going to the store and get Skittles. So, like I said, it's hurtful, and it just.
It is, and today I'm really emotional, man, and it really. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, well, okay, let's rewind. 3 weeks ago, we literally on the Great All Done podcast, we're talking about armed white people at Capitol buildings. Mm-hmm. That was happening 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
So what changed from 3 weeks ago, where white people are armed with assault rifles by the hundreds at Capitol buildings, to this brother up maybe wrote a fraudulent check, and now he's dead in cuffs. You got your knee on his neck as he dies. And so it really does seem, and I challenge anyone, the standard is different. And I know that, and I know my partner here, Mike, knows that, but I need the community to really get on board with that. Yo, it's not fair. And that's what it is. And living in this skin, you need to be able to operate in the system until we are able to change it. Operate in a system that isn't fair to you. That's a fact. And it's not right. All right. And once we get past the emotion of it not being fair, you need to go ahead and welcome that concept into your spirit, or you could be killed is what the society has shown us. The other point I wanted to bring up, as we're kind of moving this thing along, is I'm hearing a lot of the Black intellectuals, they want to intellectualize, and right, they take their emotion out of it, and that pisses me off. And I'll be honest, and I really want to try to be as transparent as I can. That's the dumbest shit in the world. some things you just can't intellectualize, right? I got a degree, right? A scholar, whatever. Certain shit is not supposed to be, it's supposed to be emotional. If we get to a point where this brother's death is only something that you're articulating from an intellectual standpoint, that's a problem.
You're just as bad as them.
That dehumanizes that man.
You're just as bad as politicians using it for a political gain. You're just as bad. Now, allow yourself to feel that, because you should. That's something you should feel.
You need that.
That's something you should feel. And I keep saying this, like, yo, I have cousins, brothers, nieces, nephews, uncles. They're all black. They all look like us. And at any given moment, it can be anything. You know, you feel me? So you gotta allow yourself to feel that, because sometimes that'll breed change. That'll spawn things. So allow yourself to feel it and stop telling people not to feel it.
Sure. You can't run from this. And that's what I was talking. I had a great conversation with a person earlier, and they were just talking about, they literally said the words verbatim, it's inappropriate to continue to post this man's death. And that was like their main point, is that they were tired of seeing death on their timeline. And for me, I'm not in a place where I could be tired of seeing death on my timeline, right? Like, especially because I'm black. And so I can't be mad that people are posting this brother getting murdered. I feel like, and I mean, maybe I'm crazy, we should address the larger issue of the fact that he's being murdered by people our tax dollars are paying to protect him. And so maybe conceptually I'm off, but my biggest issue would never be, oh, well, it's inappropriate to the family, or don't share it. Or it could just not happen, and then we know it's not going to be shared, right? Because people not being murdered.
And I want to poke fun or poke at a few people, definitely two different types of people.
Cool.
Number one, I want to poke at the people who saying, well, black lives only matter when someone else is killing them. And I've seen that so much. And I just want to tell you, and I want to be clear when I say this, the issue is that there's no justice for the lives being taken. So if I was to kill my brother here, Tracy, guess what? I'm going to jail. I'm probably doing life. Depending on how I do it, I'm getting a death penalty. I might not even make it to jail, to be honest with you. But now if one of the boys in blue do it, he may get fired. He may get, paid leave. So that's another thing. So, and then don't push the black on black crime narrative either, because we already established that crimes are committed within proximity of your like where you live. So if black on black is an issue, so is white on white, Asian on Asian, Latino on Latino, and I could go on and so forth, so on and so forth. Another thing, all the people that hated Colin Kaepernick.
Oh, he's smelling like roses right now. That brother's smelling like roses right now. Yeah.
This is what he was kneeling for. I'm going to say it one more time.
For sure.
This is what he was kneeling for.
Embattled quarterback Colin Kaepernick took a knee as the national anthem was played in San Diego. And he wasn't alone. San Francisco 49ers teammate Eric Reid kneeled beside him in solidarity. And the controversial protest is spreading. This time it was Seattle Seahawks cornerback Jeremy Lane who refused to stand during the anthem in a game against the Oakland Raiders.
I'm just standing behind Kaepernick.
Thursday night's game in San Diego was billed as Military Night, a tribute to the hundreds of thousands of military personnel who live in a city well known for its patriotism. As soldiers spread the flag colors across the field, Kaepernick and Reid remained kneeling. U.S. Navy Petty Officer Stephen Powell sang the anthem.
I just want to focus on doing my best and not what's going on around the scenarios of the anthem.
The message is that we have a lot of issues in this country that we need to deal with. We have a lot of people that are oppressed. We have a lot of people that aren't treated equally, aren't given equal opportunities.
Kaepernick took to the field during practice wearing plain white socks. Significant because since August 10th, he's been wearing socks with a cartoon image of a pig in a police officer's cap. He was roundly booed during the game.
Stand up for your country, baby!
But some fans still wanted to take a selfie with him and get his autograph.
I would not have done what he had done.
You could voice your opinion, yes you can, you're in America, but not with your uniform. I don't believe that he should have done that in the uniform because he represents my 49ers.
So he wasn't kneeling because he hated America. Because trust me, if the brother hated America, he got enough bread to leave the country.
That doesn't even make sense either for him to hate
Exactly.
America. Why would he do that? Okay.
Yeah, so this is what he was kneeling for social injustices, for police brutality. So when he wore them socks of practice with the pigs on them, if you took offense to it, that means chances are you're a part of the problem. Let's just be real with it. Let's just be real with it. You know, my father always said to me, "The hurt dog will holler."
Yeah, the hit dog will holler. No, for sure.
Yeah, so you know, it's just one of those things. So I just wanted to address those people, and you know, feel free to contact me with your thoughts and opinions. But that's how I feel.
I would love to have them. We'll have some more people of some opposite beliefs on the All Done podcast. But I think at this point, it's important to take that, man. You gotta feel that, and you gotta realize that this is not some one-off. It's not. This dude is not some. Oh man, what a bad apple. Because we lived with the bad apple thing for years. So the pictures came out of this brother this murderer who put his knee on his brother's neck and killed him. And there's pictures circulating the internet now where he's got a hat on and it says "Make Whites Great Again." And it's like, to me, where's the vetting? I've never gotten a job where I could just walk in and it's okay and I could have all these crazy things on my social media. This happened 2 days ago. This man literally is on the internet sprouting out white supremacist rhetoric, and he's still policing a street of a city what I believe is about 7% black. And so I don't understand how he's even able to keep his job. And so when I talk about the white supremacist system and you guys retort with a bad apple, we're not talking about a bad apple, because even if he's just a lone bad apple, a working system built around justice would have got him up out of there before he could have done this. FYI, as I'm doing more research, I'm also starting to hear that a couple of these cops have been harassing black people in that city a few other times. And so that's something else to look into. So how many times this apple have to be poisoned for you to say, all right, well, we probably shouldn't have this person doing this job anymore? Because now what you have is a murdered suspect. And subsequently, we still have no arrests. So that's another great point to remember.
They have
we
not
still have no arrest. And
Fired, yes.
I don't understand.
Fired, yes, not arrested. It's crazy. It's crazy. And like I said, at what point? So you know what? Speaking of, I'm not even mad at the people of Minnesota right now. They're over there turning up.
Get into that.
They're over there turning up.
Tearing it up.
You know what? Only thing I can say to them is, be safe while y'all doing it.
Be safe. Word. Protect. God protect them brothers and sisters out there holding it down.
Be safe while y'all doing it. And I mean, you know, if I wanted to speak to them on a serious note, on a different note, not even because this is all serious, but y'all just be ready. Like, you're gonna face consequences, but know you did it for a reason.
And you were on the right side of history.
Yeah, like I understand. Like, listen, yeah, you broke some laws, but you know what? You did it for a reason, and I'm not mad at you for that. So be careful, and you're gonna face your consequences, and and just know that though. Don't act like you're shocked when you do, but be careful. I'm with you in doing that. You feel me? I don't disagree with you guys. I'm not whether I'm going to go out and riot or not. I'm not saying, well, your side is wrong for doing it. Because if you're like me, you're tired of it.
Really tired.
And you're tired of it, and just be careful.
And I mean, that's a great point to just go with the protesters point. I totally feel those individuals in the streets right now are justified in everything that they're doing. I'll let the universe decide who's right and wrong at the end of the day. But at some point, you can't continue to harm people and expect it not to be a repercussion. So while we're talking about the consequences that the protesters may incur, which again, I'm hoping that the community that we have, the Black community, can come and support them brothers and sisters,
protect them, yeah.
you know, get them out of jail and bails and put some of those things in place like we need to do as a community. But you can't continue to abuse someone and just expect it to go away, right? It's kind of like, I like to put it in different forms because people seem to just be utterly baffled by racism and how it works. I don't know what it is. So let's put it in the forms of domestic abuse, right? A man is beating a woman, man is beating a woman, man is beating a woman. That woman then turns around and murders that man. Is she wrong? I don't know if she's wrong. A lot of people gonna have a right. And so there are consequences to trauma, to traumatizing a group of people. And if nothing else, I hope we can all agree that Black people have absolutely been traumatized in this country. And in saying that, I'm not saying America is the worst thing, because again, I'm not going anywhere. We built the shit for free. There was no America before Black free African labor.
I have
right?
more
There's
right
some
to be here
land.
than most.
Right? There's no America before Black free African labor, right? And of course we've never got our just due for that, which is okay. We're still fighting for that. But the overall point is, if you can continue to beat and berate people, there are going to be consequences to that. Over the last couple of weeks, I've seen not only cops murdering brothers, they're not even taking our women. There's no safety for the women. I'm seeing 90-year-old grandmothers slammed and tossed up, and it's sickening. Where's the threat? What can you say? You were scared for your life? You're 90 years old. It's a 60-year-old woman, 50-year-old woman. What was she gonna do to you? Where you had to beat her and throw her and slam her on the ground. That is sick. That is sick. And for people to kind of just move like it's not happening is even sicker. That's what we call the normalization of this trauma. And I for one, I'm just not with it. So I'm not with it. I'm not with it.
I definitely feel you. And so the question goes to where do we go? I think, and I'm with you, we need our own shit. We need our own system of we need our own shit, like our own communities, our own governing bodies, our own laws. We need our own shit.
And not the coons either. I'm not talking about the.
Nah, y'all can stay where y'all want to stay. Y'all can do what y'all want to do.
Disrespect to the Black caucus, but I'm not talking about, you know, the Al Sharp. I'm not talking about people who've been in a position to make a positive change for 20, 30, 40 years, and yet I'm still in 2020 seeing Black people get murdered in the streets. Y'all had y'all opportunity. I will submit that y'all did the best that y'all could, but it's time to move the fuck over now.
Facts. And then don't complain about how the next class coming in does it.
Please
don't. You feel me? Don't. So if I do it with a rifle strapped to my back, don't complain. You did the best you could, you know.
I appreciate it.
Some of y'all did a great job. Not even gonna lie. Y'all brought us from a long place. But now it's time for some of us. And that's to some of us. It's time to pick up the ball and keep going. Yeah. You know, we can't just say, well, they fought for us to do this, this, and that. They fought for us to vote. And they did. And what it represented at the time to them was, you know, our next step. But now we got to pick up the ball and keep going with it. We gotta grow from there. Absolutely. You know, if you're not growing, you're dying. And so we got to make sure we keep growing from there. And so like I said, I agree with you getting our next step. Let's form our. It might be time to have a militia at the forefront for our own. So you know, so back in the day, you might be getting harassed by a police officer, but it was about 6 or 7 brothers with their rifles standing there making sure it went how it went. So I'm not saying I'm not saying there shouldn't be consequences for your actions. So if you know, but death is not always the consequence, and most times it's not. It shouldn't be.
It's not. Give us our day in court. That brother won't get his day in court for his quote unquote fraudulent check.
Exactly.
And so, even if he did, he's not going to die for that. That's not a death penalty. It's not a capital punishment case.
He might face a fine or something, or
if that,
whatever. Yeah. Right? So and so just be, you know. So we need to form that. So you might have been wrong in whatever you did. Let's say it's stealing candy from the store, and they have you in handcuffs. But we're going to make sure you get to where you're going. So if it's jail, you're going to get to jail. So we need that that security blanket. So there's, like I said, there's a few things we need to start doing within ourselves. But now I'm gonna ask you, how do you feel we start doing these things? How do you feel we get these things rolling?
Yeah, and I think it goes back to something I think we touched on a little bit back in a previous episode of All Done, is we were talking about Black people having a code, because I think a lot of Black people are thinking we're just not on the same page. We don't know what we're going to call ourselves. We're spread out too far. Where it is, where it at, where it is, where that. It ain't got nothing to do with none of that. There is a very simple code that all other groups follow innately, instinctually. They follow this code. Right? You see it in the Asian community with their economics and how they operate in certain pockets of the country. Right? You definitely see it with white people. You're starting to see it with Pakistan people, Indian people in our neighborhood where we grew up in. They had their stores and they would level up. And you see in the Jewish community. I was listening to a podcast where Hov was talking about Cross from Marcy projects. The Jewish community had 2 blocks, and now it's a thriving community, thriving Jewish community. And that's the blueprint. People have already given it to us. We just don't want to do it because like I talked about in Prosperity for All, man, go pick that up on Amazon. Like I talked about in Prosperity for All, Black people have this crazy morality that we feel like we have to follow. And I love us for that, and it is going to be our biggest downfall.
Yeah.
I love us for that. But at some point, you can't have so much morality that you allow people to brutalize you, right? You can't and the other piece is you got to get rid of that morality. I know that's thoroughly indoctrinated into us, right, from the church and some other things. But you gotta be willing. You gotta be willing to do those things. And so the first thing I think we need to do is, you gotta follow the code, right? And so there were brothers, right? Simple fix. There were brothers. A brother, I seen him in the video I was watching earlier, watching this race soldier put his knee on this brother's neck. All he had to do was push him off him.
Yeah. Bro, get in the car, man.
I will.
Get in the car.
I can't move.
I've been waiting the whole thing, man. Just get in the car.
Mama.
Get up and get in the car right.
I can't.
I gave y'all the opportunity to get in, bro. I told you can't win. Bro, with your feet on his neck, man, you get off the car. Yeah, that's raw right there with his feet on his neck.
Damn, bro, you just sitting your knee on his neck.
Yeah, I mean, you got your feet right on his neck, officer.
He ain't even resisting arrest.
Having fun?
I cannot breathe.
You just a grown, you're a tough guy. You're a tough guy, huh?
I love y'all ass.
You're a tough guy. He's not even resisting arrest, bro. Bro, but why you just sitting there? He ain't doing nothing now. Put him in the car.
How long y'all gotta hold him?
It ain't about drugs, bro. I understand that, but you don't gotta have his hand in his neck, bro. He is human, bro. But I'm saying you could put him in the car. That's some bum ass shit. That's some bum ass shit, bro. That's some bum ass shit, bro. Y'all know what that is. You don't gotta sit there with your knee on his neck, bro. Bro, he ain't fine, bro. You circle like in the jiu-jitsu move, bro. You trapping his breathing right there, bro. Like, you don't think that what it is, bro? You don't think nobody understands that shit right there, bro? I trained at the academy, bro. That's some bullshit, bro. Right, that's bullshit, bro. That's bullshit, bro.
Yeah, so that means that brother, you gonna get your ass beat or brutalized, but that brother's gonna live and you save his life. That's cold. That's cold. You don't let these race soldiers just sit up and kill this man for no damn reason.
Yeah, and they do it with pleasure. Like, he looked like he was enjoying doing that. Cause did you see the picture from the other angle?
I did.
Like, so it's crazy. Like, there's never no need. And these are so-called trained officers. And like, I don't know, I mentioned this before. One of my jobs, I'm security guard. I know not to put my knee on no one's neck. I know that. That's just simple. Yeah, like, I broke up a fight. Yeah, you resisted, but now I'll let you go. Go on about your business. Yeah, I'm trained to put handcuffs on people, but I still know not to put my knee on your neck. And
the brother was cuffed.
Yeah, once they're cuffed, once they're in a certain hold. Honestly, you wrestled. Once you get somebody in a certain hold, they're not moving anyway. So there's no need to take it to the next level. And that's what they keep doing. And then acting like they didn't know that was going to happen. And then he exclaimed, he told him, I can't breathe. I'm letting you know I can't breathe. And people make the argument that, well, if you can talk, you can breathe. No, he's letting you know I'm losing my breath.
asinine.
I can't. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, and going back to your code, like yo, like so there's so many camera angles. That means there was a lot of people there. Somebody do something.
Anything.
Help, throw a rock, a water balloon, do something.
Get this dude off this man.
Yeah,
man.
call their supervisor, do something. You got to do something.
Yeah, I'm tired of watching videos with black people in the background. Don't you do that to him. Oh my God. Like, yo, cut all that yelling shit out. It's time to bust a move. It's time to bust a move. All that yelling in the background, and yes, you could get hurt. You could go to jail. You could get in some trouble. But I'm gonna tell you this. Malcolm said it, man. Cost of freedom is death.
Yeah.
And I can't. I have a child. I got nieces and nephews. I'm not gonna allow them to grow up in a society where they could be murdered for a fraudulent check, if that's even what they did, or because they went for a run and looked at some construction site, or because you guys ran up in the wrong house, or because they did. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And so we can't. I'm not gonna allow that. And so the key, right? Code point number 2. Black people, you need to realize you're in a war, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you don't want to. I know you don't want to. And I know it's stressful that you got to look over your shoulder a little bit more than maybe some other people walking around here. But you do. That's the reality. That's your reality. Whether you want to take it or not take it, I mean, that's up to you. I mean, I'm gonna hope that you're gonna, take these societal signs and wake up a little bit. But the fact will remain, right? And that goes for my educated blacks too. Right? Because I hear a lot of y'all trying to, again, intellectualize this, and you think you're above this ass whooping because you got a degree. And that ain't the case.
I respect you for getting it, but that shit don't matter when they got the guns to your head, they got their knee on your neck. None of that matter. Who you are and what you've done, what you accomplished. And you was talking to the intellectuals. I'm gonna talk to the religious people. Hey, listen, I'm with it. I love the Most High, but I'm sorry, I can't pray for those officers. I can't pray for you. I'm at the point where I can't. And I respect the strength that you can, but you know what? We got to stop telling our people just, okay, well, God's going to take care of it later. Why can't I have my heaven now? Everybody else is getting their heaven now. Everybody else getting their peace now. Why can't I have mine now? So I want to tell, that's the crowd I'm going to talk to, my religious brothers and sisters. Like I said, I don't knock it. I think, you should praise who you praise or worship who you worship, but understand, like you know what? Stop telling our brothers and sisters, well, don't worry about it. God's going to fix it. God's going to fix it. God's going to take care of us later. Nah, like later's gone, because we've been hearing that since the slave fields, since the cotton fields.
For sure, man. And them brothers that have no choice. Slaves that have a choice. Right?
Yeah,
like they were, you're outmanned, outgunned. Right? So they had to turn to something just to get them by, some of them. And in those situations, okay, they turn to religion because, damn, life is hell, working from sun up to sundown. But that's not.
They was wishing for death pretty much then.
And they laid the foundation so that doesn't have to be your life. You don't got to sit up here and pray. And not to mention, you can't pray your way out of this. I don't know what it's going to take for you to get it. You can't pray your way out of this situation.
Because I don't know if you realize while we were trying to pray, a brother ran up in the church shooting. I'm not going to say a brother, a white supremacist ran up in the church shooting.
Period. And so what are we going to do? He killed grandmas while they were praying. Yeah. I don't understand what else it's going to take for you to realize that there is a faction, a population out here in this country that is really would like to see you perish.
Yeah. So.
And I understand you don't want to deal with it because it's scary. I understand that. I get it. But at some point, you got to shake that fear, especially the warrior class. We need, that's the code, another code point. Got to have a warrior class. Got to have brothers that's willing to say, hey, man, I might have to give my life.
Mm-hmm.
But if I live here righteously, I will be rewarded.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you believe that way.
And we understand that everybody's not to be a part of the warrior class. We understand everybody has a job in this society we're talking about starting or creating, but don't knock the ones that we have for that. You feel me? Because so to the intellectuals we spoke on, we're gonna need you. To religious people, we're gonna need you. But don't knock the next who's not a part of your job or your beliefs in that society we're trying to create for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Because we're gonna need everyone. So one shouldn't knock the other. We may disagree.
Everyone except the coons. Everyone except the coons.
Huh?
Everyone except the coons.
Yeah, no, I don't want the coons.
You're a coon. Let's get that straight right now.
That's dangerous.
If this type of stuff over the last couple of weeks, if you're one of those people talking about, well, what about black on black crime? Got to stay the fuck over.
I ain't got room for you.
If you're one of those people who are like, well, I heard a brother say he's not from that city. What was he doing there? Slave catching shit is bad.
Like, I'm not from Jackson, Mississippi, and that's where I'm at.
He's free. He can go whatever the hell he wants to go, right? So there are certain instances, and again, laid out in Prosperity for All, those type of statements, you got to miss me with that shit. We are way past code point another code point, we're way past educate, everyone can't go. And I'm okay with that. Right?
Other panelists have said that this is the American way. But after all this is said and done, Americans are left with the thought, okay, what do we do now? What do we do now? We go back to work. We go back to work. We treat our fellow men and women as human beings. And you don't go out there and be like Chauvin. And we know that the majority of us aren't like that. Because that day when it was going down, American citizens that witnessed this, as the prosecution alluded to, still called the police because they are noble. They do, in large, do the right thing. Even though there's many of us, including me, I've talked about my personal experience with bad apples. The majority of them do their job. And I think it sent out a clear message to those 2%, 3% that are bad apples. The American way, you can't get away with it. You might as well turn it your badge and gun now, because this is not how we do business here.
Lawrence, thank you.
And you start to look at some of these great revolutions throughout history, Haitian Revolution. You look at what black people went through in the 60s with civil rights. They faction themselves away from coons. Those are the first group to go, because they are dangerous. It is dangerous, and I'm not. It's funny, kind of, because some of the shit they say.
No, that's not what I'm laughing at. I'm going to tell you what I'm laughing at, but finish your story.
Some of the shit that they say is so outlandish, and it can be funny, and to some people could piss you off. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But you got to understand that when other races of people hear these coons say this type of shit, it gives them the green light to justify this bullshit that we continue to see over and over again.
So what gave me a chuckle as we was talking about coons, I work, I have a job, I work in a plant. And, of course, while you work, you socialize or whatever. And it was just one guy in particular. And he was talking to me and another coworker. There was 3 black people talking, and I hear him talking, and he's, motherfucker, this, shit, that, just, chopping it up with the cool. That's fine. Like, that's how you talk, that's how you talk. But then a supervisor or manager walked up, right? Supervisor or manager, and tapped him. And he turned around and everything into the chain. Hey, sir, how you doing there, sir? You scared me there, sir. Hey, what's going on? What can I do for you?
Shucking and jiving.
Shucking and jiving at its finest. And it's one thing to be respectful when you speak to somebody, your manager, your supervisor, boss. But then there's another thing to just drop to your knees and start blowing them. And that's exactly what he did, in my opinion, in my eyes. He might as well have just started giving them a hand job. And and those are the people we talk about when we say coons can't come. So there's nothing wrong with playing devil's advocate occasionally and having a conversation.
Question everything. Absolutely. Be a disruptor. Question everything.
Because that's what causes you to get to that next level.
Absolutely. But the blatant shit, I can't and I won't be a part of that energy, because it's dangerous, man. It's very dangerous. And I think we've seen that, right? This white cop, I wonder how many black people this white cop has even encountered. How many black people does he even know, right? This dude doesn't know how to interact with black people, right? So anything that we do in his mind, his psychotic white supremacist mind, that's a perceived threat.
Exactly.
You already super nigga. Gonna run through all the bullets. It's 3 cops. This brother's cuffed. It's 3 of y'all holding him down. He about to Hulk smash all y'all and escape apparently. So you got to keep your your knee on his neck. The shit is absurd, and there's no excuse. Moving forward, and I think this is an interesting conversation. And I'm not a proponent, and I'm bringing this up because I hear a lot of other people talk about it. I'm not looking for white people to do shit. I think
absolutely not. I
think I'm a student of Malcolm, and you know, anything that is to be done for black people needs to be done by black people. So I'm not a proponent of white people doing stuff, but I hear a lot of black people starting to say, well, white people, y'all quiet. You need to speak up.
This. Hours after the judge in the case reprimanded Maxine Waters, who flew from D.C. to the city before the jury had started deliberating to demand a guilty verdict. In fact, she demanded a verdict on premeditated murder, which he wasn't even charged with. And first of all, that whole Maxine Waters going to Minneapolis, what else could that be other than an attempt to intimidate and tamper with the jury? What other motivation could you have to fly as a high-ranking politician to the city where this local murder trial is happening and demand that the jury come to a verdict? Either you believe in fair trials or you don't. Either you want the jury to weigh the evidence and come to a decision or you don't. It's clear that they don't here. The problem, the irony is that the only verdict we could really trust is an acquittal on all counts. I think that would have been the right verdict, but it's also the only one you can trust because it's the only one that couldn't have been motivated by anything but a look at the evidence. But with this verdict, you have to obviously wonder, is that how they saw it when they investigated the evidence, or are they coming to this decision because they know their lives might be over, might be ruined if they came to any other decision? They know that the media is going to leak their identity, and they're going to be looking over their shoulder for the rest of their lives.
Right, they had a choice. They could be the heroes of the Republic today, or they could be the greatest villains in the history of the Republic today.
Yeah.
Kayleigh McEnany had the temerity to say this
right verdict?
When asked a question.
Kayleigh, I'd like to come to you first on this. And just a reminder, we just heard this week defense attorney Eric Nelson moving the judge for a mistrial because of Representative Maxine Waters' comments, saying that a reasonable person could expect that it was threatening the sanctity of the jury process, that it could in fact be witness intimidation, to which Judge Cahill replied, I'll give you that you just provided potentially a reason on appeal for this entire trial to be overturned. So what's the difference now, especially when we have the president weighing in?
You're exactly right. And we heard Judge Cahill go on to caution elected officials and say, I urge you not to weigh in just hours before or half a day before the president himself weighs in. Look, I'm glad he at least waited until the jury was sequestered. Right. But I think that the country is such a tinderbox right now, especially Minneapolis. There's so much hurt, so much pain. And I think it's the role of the president of the United States to stay back, to not inflame the tensions. I like that he called the family of George Floyd. President Trump did too, but it's such a tinderbox moment, and I think he should have just reserved comment and said he's praying for the family, as we all are.
Biden shouldn't inflame tensions? Biden should just step back, just like President Trump did. President Trump was gassing peaceful protesters a block away from the White House and then carting over a Bible to wave in front of a church, a Bible that wasn't his, in front of a church he didn't go to. But yeah, Biden should act a little more like Trump in that respect. More metered, more respectful, less inflaming of tensions. Insisting that football players, those son of a bitches, should be fired for peacefully, silently protesting the very thing that we're talking about here. Police brutality and the death of black men at the hands of police in America.
Frankly, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Speak up, don't speak up, whatever. That's not for me. What am I getting if I got the white celebrity who's saying this is wrong? Duh, I know. Yeah, it is wrong. Thank you for I'm not looking for allies, man. I'm looking for black people to support each other economically and build for ourselves. Because there's no savior coming, and we learned that throughout history as well. Nobody's coming. I need y'all to understand that as well. Nobody's coming.
You gotta be careful. They got mad at Jay-Z for saying that in the song.
It's the truth. Who's coming? And when are they coming? So I can book it.
They said Bernie was our savior.
Get the fuck out of here.
They said Bernie was our savior, and so.
And that's another great point is people think that you're gonna vote your way out. You gonna get under white people, and they're gonna speak up enough, and you're gonna get out that way.
They're gonna say enough to get elected.
No, man, and that's and as far as the election, it's a fucking joke. And I totally think that, and for all the people, and this is kind of a segue, a lot of people said black people ruined the country because they sat out last election and in larger numbers than we have in the past. That's the first time that we've ever actually done that. Right? It's not like we're always sitting out of elections. Right? We chose to sit out last election because we felt like we were being conned, and we were.
Ding, ding, ding.
And this one, they're trying to con us again. And you know what? I respect brothers like Diddy and a couple other celebrities that are saying like, yo, we are withholding the black vote. I'm glad that they're starting to get on the bandwagon on code. Like, we're not voting for you, Biden. And you know what? I'm still black.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
And you can't take that away, brother. You can't take that away. I'm still black, and no matter whether I vote for you, no matter whether I vote for you or I don't vote for you, I gotta be black. That's the thing. This is I'm sorry.
You can question my black card all you want, but at the end of the day, this is me. This is my skin. This is who I am. My big lips. My. This is me. I'm a black man.
My retort to presidential candidate Joe Biden is, if I'm not black because I don't want to vote for you, how the fuck can you be in politics for all these years, and then Brother George is still getting murdered in the street? How can you not look at your career and what you've done as a failure before you judge my blackness? You've been in politics your whole fucking life, and we're still in a system of white supremacy. So who's fucking up, Joe? Which one of us is failing at doing what we're supposed to be doing?
I've been critical of you. I have a few things I want to talk to you about today.
I know you have. Yeah. You don't know me.
No, I don't. That's why I want to get to know you today. I want to talk to you about mostly black stuff. It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man. I extended the voting rights 25 years. I have a record that is second to none. The NAACP has endorsed me every time I've run. Come on. Take a look at the record. Get overwhelming support from the black leadership, young and old. Every poll shows me way ahead.
And black people saved your political life in the primaries this year. They have things they want from you, and one of them is a black woman running mate. What do you say to them?
What I say to them is that I'm not acknowledging anybody who is being considered, but I guarantee you there are multiple black women being considered. We've seen it more clearly now. In a black majority county, they're 6 times more likely to die in a pandemic than a white county. They're disproportionately uninsured in the African-American community, disproportionately make up the essential jobs that they can't do at home. They're risking their lives every day. Enough's enough.
I'm going to go ahead and say it's you, brother. You ain't done enough. And a lot of you politicians, you ain't done enough. And that's hard for you to swallow. It sucks for somebody to tell you, yo, you ain't done a good enough fucking job. Clintons, Bushes, generations of politicians.
What's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Are
you getting information right now?
Hot sauce.
Hot sauce in my bag, swag?
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yes.
Now listen, I just want you to know, people are going to see this and say, okay, she's pandering to black people.
Okay. Is it working?
Yeah. This is the country they've created.
Mm-hmm.
And
the one y'all hate us to say, Obama.
There were calls for President Obama to speak out in the wake of the verdict all week, especially from within the African-American community. White House officials tell me that President Obama was watching the reaction to the verdict since it came down last weekend. So he surprised us all by stepping behind the podium right before Jay Carney's daily briefing this afternoon.
President Obama broke his silence, offering his own experiences as a window into frustrations and sadness in the African-American community.
When Trayvon Martin was first shot, I said that this could have been my son. Another way of saying that is Trayvon Martin could have been me 35 years ago.
He spoke in uncharacteristically blunt and personal terms.
There are very few African-American men in this country who haven't had the experience of being followed when they were shopping in a department store. That includes me. There are very few African-American men who haven't had the experience of walking across the street and hearing the locks click on the doors of cars. That happens to me, at least before I was a senator. Those sets of experiences inform how the African-American community interprets what happened one night in Florida. And it's inescapable for people to bring those experiences to bear.
For a president who often offers colorblind answers to questions about race.
And the best thing that I can do for the African-American community or the Latino community or the Asian community, whatever community, is to get the economy as a whole moving.
Today's comments were a striking departure.
There's a lot of pain around what happened here.
President Obama said his team is weighing a number of policy responses to Trayvon Martin's death, training state and local officials to avoid racial profiling, encouraging states to reconsider stand your ground laws, backing new programs that support young black men.
Is there more that we can do to give them a sense that their country cares about them and values them and is willing to invest in them? And
the president made clear he respects the jury's decision.
They rendered a verdict. And once the jury's spoken, that's how our system works.
But said he believes the reaction to the verdict has to do with something larger.
And that all contributes, I think, to a sense that if a white male teen was involved in the same kind of scenario, that from top to bottom, both the outcome and the aftermath might have been different. I just ask people to consider, if Trayvon Martin was of age and armed, could he have stood his ground on that sidewalk? And do we actually think that he would have been justified in shooting Mr. Zimmerman, who had followed him in a car, because he felt threatened? And if the answer to that question is at least ambiguous, then it seems to me that we might want to examine those kinds of laws.
Well, sources also tell me President Obama has not spoken with Trayvon Martin's parents, although you did hear him acknowledge them in his remarks today and also in his statement over the weekend. I should also point out that the president did suggest in his remarks that he believes race relations are improving in this nation with every generation.
Oh my God! Don't start now. Now you about to get
They can give it to me. You haven't done enough for us.
Invoking the boogeyman, and that's true, man. Speak on immigration, speak on LGBTQ, and that's fine. Those groups need to be taken care of and protected because the ideals of America says so. But I can say, hey, I need some stuff for black people, and I'm not the devil for that. It's okay for me to say, hey, man, black people need some stuff because we done been through some shit too.
Yeah, no, that's fact. As you should. You should want what you want for your people.
Except
Everybody
that when you say that, oh my God, it goes crazy. It's World War III.
Well, I'm gonna give a lot of my brothers and sisters a response to a lot of things because then they make you feel bad for when they say this.
Oh yeah.
They say, well, you're black and you're saying this, so you're a racist. Here's a response for you. As a black person, You cannot be racist. Racism is a system.
It's power-based.
It's power-based. Exactly. You have to have means to withhold from a certain people in order to be racist. We don't possess that power. We don't possess those means. We don't control the economy, the government. So we cannot be racist. We can be prejudiced, and everybody's prejudiced.
You can be bigoted, word, yeah. You can not like a couple motherfuckers, that's fine.
That's fine. And that's fine. But you know what? So that when they say you're racist, tell them, oh, I can't be. You can call me something else, but I can't be racist, so I'm good.
And black people are the highest morale people on the planet. No one has a higher morality than black people.
You know what? That was about to bring me to my next question.
Shoot it.
And it's a bit rhetorical. At what point do we stop having that bleeding heart for everyone else?
Good question.
We want to fight and don't get me, so these people I'm about to mention, I'm not necessarily against them, but we want to fight for gay rights. We've been on the line with Latinos, we've been on the line with different people. You know, at what point do we just fight for us and be okay with, I can't really fight what you're fighting for right now. I'm not saying you don't deserve it, but I got to work on what I'm fighting for right now. At some point, we have to be there. And so, like I said, it's okay. It's okay to want to support Black-owned businesses. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, don't let nobody make you feel crazy because you said, you know what, this cup is being sold by white folk, this cup being sold by black folk. I'm black. I'm gonna go buy the black cup because that dollar needs to stay in my community because we need it. That's not a problem, and that's not racist. That's not prejudice. That's not big. That's I'm taking care of my people the same way y'all have been doing for the beginning since the beginning of time. Yeah, y'all been taking care of each other, and conning us to think that if we take care of our own, we're bad. It's racist. There's something wrong with that. And that con has to stop. And I think it is coming to a stop because we fed up. We fed up. So to those politicians out there, man, I hope y'all are gonna come with a real black agenda. Not that rising tide lifts all boats bullshit. Because our boat been sunk for a long time. So to rise the whole joint don't really help us, right? You elevate one, we need to be there needs to be a plan solely configured for us, period. Because our trauma and our brutalization has been different and more extreme than anyone else in the country.
Facts.
And we don't want to leave, right? Raz, we're about to wrap up this all done podcast. So obviously we don't want to leave, right? Without giving solutions. And to anybody we talked about, definitely from my perspective, and I know from Mike's perspective as well, it's no hate, man. Nobody hates you.
I don't hate anyone.
Law enforcement, Latino community, gay community, white community, nobody hates nobody. But y'all aren't being brutalized like that.
Nope.
There's no cops just beating the hell out of you, murdering you, beating your grandmothers. And who knows what else, because the filming is just now getting really started the last few decades. So who knows what we've missed?
Facts.
And it's just a real tough thing. So I'll start with the solution. I'll let you wrap it up, Mike. Solution number one. Now, I say it till I'm blue in the face. Got to have a code. Code is a must. You gotta have a code as a people. You don't gotta, and that, again, doesn't mean I gotta like you. I gotta like your shoes. I gotta like when you dress. I gotta like the people you date. I don't give a fuck about none of that. I'm talking about my interactions when I deal with other black people. There's a way I'm going to conduct myself. Period. The other solution that I'll hark on here, because there are many, but the other one is, man, support black people's stuff. It's nothing. That book right there, it's on Amazon, iTunes, working on the audio joint. Go get that. It's $15. Go get that. Support that. And then in turn from the $15 you choose to support me with, I'm going to go take 12 of those dollars and I'm going to go support someone else from my community.
I don't know what the hell that was. My lights went out. Well, not my lights, just the light in this room. I don't know what's going on with that, but there you go. We back.
fucking white supremacists going working overtime. But
Yeah.
again, the second piece is the economics, man. Support the people, man. It's a lot of black business owners right now. This pandemic has spawned a lot of black people trying to do positive things with their money for their community. There's nothing wrong with that. Support them folks, man.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna leave you with a couple things as well. That actually threw me off a little bit. I forgot one of my points now, but as black people, like he said, no matter what you're light skin, dark skin, you wear Jordans or you wear flip flops, each one reach one to teach one.
Sure.
You feel me? So be ready to help your brother, your sister. Be ready to help. You know, you may not agree on some things, and what you do is you disagree in private, but publicly we're a united front.
Sure.
And the second thing I'm gonna leave you with, I'm gonna speak to my law enforcement brothers and sisters, or the white supremacists. I'm gonna tell y'all, handcuffs, these can't be broken. No matter how hard I pull, no matter how I twist, these can't be broken. So once you get me in these, I am no longer a threat. You feel me? They can't be broken. They locked. I can't get out. So there's no need for you to have your knee on my neck, back, or leg.
None of that.
All right. So that's my two signing out points.
That's it, man. We're gonna wrap it up, and I'm gonna go ahead and say this podcast is all done.
Tonight, former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is inmate 261557 at Minnesota's only maximum security prison, spending 23 hours a day in a stark cell like this one, isolated from his fellow prisoners for his own safety in what's called administrative segregation. Chauvin, the rare police officer tried and convicted for killing someone while on duty.
Bail is revoked, bond is discharged, and the defendant is remanded to the custody of the Hennepin County Sheriff.
Chauvin handcuffed and led away. The Justice Department now weighing whether to bring federal civil rights charges against him. And today, Attorney General Merrick Garland putting the entire Minneapolis Police Department under the microscope.
The Justice Department has opened a civil investigation to determine whether the Minneapolis Police Department engages in a pattern or practice of unconstitutional or unlawful policing.
The probe will assess whether the department engages in discriminatory conduct.
It will include a comprehensive review of the Minneapolis Police Department's policies, training, supervision, and use of force investigations.
Swear or affirm.
Minneapolis Police Chief Medaria Arredondo testified Chauvin's actions in no way, shape, or form reflect departmental policy.
It is not part of our training, and it is certainly not part of our ethics or our values.
The chief now welcoming the federal investigation. And tonight, for so many, the verdict is cause for hope. Among them, 9-year-old Judea Reynolds, who witnessed Floyd's murder and testified she told Chauvin to get off of him. Prosecutors saying the crime was so clear a child could see it. Judea speaking to our Robin Roberts.
And what was everybody saying when they heard that the former police officer had been found guilty? What were people saying around you?
My mom said that we brought change. My dad said we won.
What were you thinking and feeling?
Kind of proud.
That young witness talking with Robin this morning, and Alex Perez joins us from Minneapolis again tonight. Alex, we know that Derek Chauvin will be sentenced in about 8 weeks. Meantime, the 3 other officers involved in the death of George Floyd, we know scheduled to go on trial in August, but what could this guilty verdict on all charges for Chauvin mean, if anything, for the other officers?
Yeah, David, all 3 of them are charged as accomplices with aiding and abetting second-degree murder and aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter. Now, given yesterday's guilty verdict, it remains unclear if they would try to strike a plea deal to avoid going to trial altogether. David?
All right, Alex Perez leading us off again tonight. Alex, thank you.
He tweeted, and I have video of him next. George Floyd's death will go down as the most consequential drug overdose in history. Which leads us to his boss, Ben Shapiro. I'm Ben Shapiro. Little Ben Shapiro said that it is fully insane that the President of the United States seeks to address the nation in the aftermath of individual criminal justice cases, but this is the new normal and has been since Ferguson. Of course, it wouldn't be a cultural touchstone in America, especially related to race, if we didn't have Tomi Lahren, the little alt-right princess, sounding off. She tweeted this: "Is the Foot Locker safe tonight? Should be, right? Justice, right? No need to steal in the name of George Floyd anymore, right?" Ghoul. Sickening, racist POS. Tomi Lahren.
So I gotta get paid. Gotta support myself. So I gotta get paid. Make music for ourselves. So we gotta get paid. Don't sell your soul just so we can get paid. Money rule the evil, and we gotta get paid. Almighty dollar, and God we trust, say his name. I said I need change, but shit don't really change. Fam, the pain, damn, but I can't complain, man. Money on me, rain dance. I count the money, scoop your honey with the same hand. You with the G, aim. Sometimes you gotta let them be.